In this video, we are going to talk about our future of living on the water, floating cities. So before starting, please like this video and subscribe to this channel for our future updates. As sea levels rise, coastal areas all over the world are being inundated to greater and greater extents. By 2050, it is possible that 800 million people from 570 cities may be forced to relocate. But what if, instead of transferring people, we repositioned our urban areas? Someone has proposed the concept of constructing an island metropolis in the middle of the ocean. But is this water world a fiction, or will we see some of these technologies come to fruition on dry ground in the near future? So, why are architects looking for a way to get off our dry dock ship? Jark Ingalls discussed the effects of sea level rise on coastal communities around the world in his TED lecture. 90% of major cities throughout the world will be affected by climate change by 2050. Some cities, such as Shanghai, have already made steps to combat this, with sea level rises of up to 2 feet expected by 2050. The Chinese metropolis has already built protective sea walls along 520 kilometers of its coastline to keep itself dry. There's also Hamburg's Hafencity floodproof area, which features waterfront buildings built on mounds and a gate system that seals off their lower floors in the event of a flood. Or the Hammarby Lake City in Stockholm, where runoff is managed by wet gardens. The storm surge from Hurricane Sandy in 2012 knocked out power to 500,000 residences in Manhattan. The Dryline project, developed by Ingalls Company, will protect New York City's financial district against future hurricane-driven floods. This 7-mile-long water-repellent ribbon offers green parks, dining spots, bicycle shelters, and more, as well as a mix of climate security and leisure facilities. But in the long run, are sea barriers a realistic dry run? According to the Center for Climate Integrity, the United States will need to spend $400 billion by 2040 to defend coastal cities from rising sea levels. Clearly, that is an unsustainable expense. But Ingalls' imaginative mind appears to have come up with a solution for that as well. In addition to building effective sea walls, the Danish architect is the brains behind Oceanix Metropolis, a UN-backed floating city concept. This isn't the only plan being discussed. While there has been some exciting progress toward making the floating dream a reality, which I'll get to in a minute, floating cities face a number of big hurdles, as you might expect. New Orleans, sinking or floating city? While I doubt we'll ever live in Kevin Costner's Waterworld, New Orleans could be a good setting for a sequel. It fulfills all of the requirements. Some parts of the city are sinking at a pace of 2 inches per year, and by 2100, they may be completely submerged. Furthermore, the Crescent City is situated on the Mississippi River Delta, where some parts are approximately 10 feet below sea level. Not to mention the threat of storm surges. It's easy to see why some engineers offered seasteading as a way to save New Orleans, but what exactly is seasteading? Basically, it's about establishing a permanent offshore settlement. In other words, a seastead instead of a homestead. There are already examples of seasteads floating around in the ocean, if you think about it. Anti-aircraft platforms and cargo ships. So, can we just build an entire city on a shipyard like New Orleans? There are a few obstacles, like as the city's weight, which would force the shipyard hull 300 feet underwater. Furthermore, a shipyard the size of New Orleans would be larger than the combined size of the world's 3 largest shipyards. Waves, on the other hand, are the most difficult challenge to overcome. In reality, the vast shipyard structural downfall could be caused by their influence. So, what are our options? A solution would be to design a flexible system that surfs the waves, which would entail interconnecting many small sections into a larger structure rather than a single giant inflexible platform. The Netherlands could be a source of inspiration for the floating dwellings in New Orleans. Water Studio and other architects in Amsterdam have previously created a floating village that can accommodate 100 people in 46 dwellings while remaining afloat. Aside from providing housing, the city should be self-sufficient enough to let residents to live independently from the mainland. It's a little like being on a long-term cruise ship. Aside from wind turbines and solar panels, the ocean is an obvious source of energy with a fascinating technology. One of the most promising technologies is ocean thermal energy conversion. This idea based on the natural temperature difference between the surface and lower depths of the ocean, which can be transformed into electrical energy. But how does that function in practice? The warmer surface water vaporizes a low boiling point fluid, such as ammonia, in a closed-loop OTEC system. The steam is transported through pipelines until it reaches a turbine that is connected to a generator. Close the loop by pumping colder ocean water from deeper depths to liquefy the heated ammonia vapor and reuse it. The fascinating part is that the leftover cooling water may be used to grow food like fish and algae in aquaculture operations. A byproduct of an open-loop OTEC plant would be fresh water. In fact, instead of ammonia, this design reduces the pressure of surface seawater, causing it to evaporate. Desalinated water is the result of condensing it back into a liquid form. Overall, an OTEC plant may provide the offshore urban infrastructure with clean electricity, food, and drinking water. Projects still keeping afloat. They're working on a UN-supported floating city project called Oceanic City with the cooperation of Bjarke Ingels, the Danish architect I mentioned previously, and Mark Collins-Chen, the former tourist minister of French Polynesia. It will be made up of hexagonal islands, each measuring 3.5 football fields in size. A total of 300 people will be housed in each floating neighborhood. Oceanix will first build a 6-island hamlet as a fundamental unit of their offshore infrastructure, using a stepwise modular architecture. The hamlet will be self-sufficient in terms of services such as healthcare, education, and so on. To better withstand wind, all structures, including bamboo and wood-made residences, will be below 7 stories as part of the seascape. If that works, they'll expand their idea to include 6 interconnected communities, with a total capacity of 10,800 people. The movable islands would be built on dry land before being hauled into position. Plantations, public spaces, and marinas will all have their own unique utilitarian edges. Small desert islands will ring the archipelago, according to the designers. These units will have specialized tasks, such as solar energy generation and food production, in addition to cushioning the waves and wind blows. The first prototype will be put to the test near the equator, where the majority of the city will be outside. This would also lower the amount of energy required to grow food. I'm not joking when I say biorock or cement is a revolutionary material. We'll safely anchor each island a mile off the shore to the ocean's bottom. This material can be made underwater using a renewable energy-powered electrochemical process. In a nutshell, a current is passed between a steel cathode and a much smaller anode. As a result, seawater minerals precipitate around the bar, forming a limestone layer. This substance, which has qualities similar to concrete, is durable and binds to the ocean bedrock, resulting in a very stable mooring point for the floating platform. Furthermore, it serves as an artificial reef, supplying food and shelter to marine creatures. The island is built to resist hurricanes of Category 5 and tsunamis. Oceanix founder Mark Chen envisions his idea as a closed-loop system, with the island supplying its own water, food, and electricity. Engineers proposed a 3-tiered water distribution system. They'll start by collecting and storing rainwater from the sky reservoir. They'll also make use of the massive ocean tank by constructing a solar-powered desalination plant. Testing the water. We need more dwelling space as the world's population and sea levels rise. While the economic and technical viability of floating cities has yet to be established, they have the potential to transform a danger into an ocean of resources. Seasteading could be the next step in urbanization. Even if it doesn't, it might serve as a test bed for new technologies such as 3D printing, waste management, and ocean energy, which could be useful on land. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comments section below. If you enjoy this video and want to hear from me again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go. Thanks for watching.